So we are live. Very good afternoon to everyone watching us live from across the globe. We welcome you everyone to the webinar on uh, squamous cell cancer of head and neck, our own problem, organized by International Association of Oncology in association with Biolix. So without much delay, I would like to introduce our moderator for the afternoon, Dr. Prafulla Kumar Das sir, Professor and Head of Department Surgical Oncology, AHPGIC, Cuttack. Sir, we welcome you to the webinar. And before we start the presentation, I would like sir to greet the audience and welcome our speaker. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Assis, for giving us a great opportunity and allowing me to moderate this session. This is a great session, and I could say the about 257 people have participated, and some are from the outside the country also. So this will be mostly on squamous cell carcinoma of the oral cavity and head and neck, which is very common nowadays in India. And our speaker, Dr. Dilip Kar, who is a surgical oncologist of more than 15 years of experience, and he is practicing in. He has got a lot of experience. He is training from Tata Memorial Hospital, SGPGI Lucknow, and many more institutions. And he is a practicing surgeon in Kalinga Hospital and Asian Institute of Oncology, Bhubaneswar. So, as you know, the incidence of squamous cell carcinoma in oral cavity and head and neck is rising, and it is one of the most common problem of cancer in India. This is purely because of tobacco, and because of the disease coming in the late stage, the death rate has also increased over the last few years. And there are many changes, and the number of oropharyngeal cancer also is on rise. That means posterior to the oral cavity, the oropharynx, that becomes a prey of cancer for this squamous cell carcinoma. And as you know, mainly the cause is tobacco, either in the form of smokeless, chewing tobacco. And this chewing tobacco is not a cause factor for a few months or years. People are chewing tobacco, and after so many exposure of so many months and years, ultimately they come into this dreaded situation. So God has given us such a long period. Usually, if you find the youngsters, they fall into prey of this tobacco, mostly in the younger age group, but they are affected after 40. So this is a long period of 20-25 years. God has given us the time to be cautious and to be aware and to prevent. So the idea of this webinar and meeting, we should be all aware why this cancer is caused. What are the most common causes like tobacco, and nowadays HPV, human papilloma virus infection also has come in a big way. So I will now hand over mic to Dr. Dilip Kar, who will be speaking on this subject. So over to Dilip.
So good afternoon on the 74th Independence Day. Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
So आज Dr. Das told me, thank you sir for your kind words, and thank you Assis for helping me out. Dr. Das is my senior. He was my senior in Tata Memorial. So he is a senior professor in Acharya Harrier. So whenever we discussed, he emphasized very clearly कि Dilip, it should be a presentation for a common man. So I will not go for any much more technical difficulty, much more deep into technical parts, which is not palatable for the common audience. And Dr. Vishwas also told me that many audience will only thing during that neck notes, I'll skip some slides. I'll try to minimize and I'll go more emphasis on tobacco and government. So how do we differ? I have to show where we differ, how do we differ, and exactly what remarkable achievement we have done in the surgery. Not much achievement in surgery except early lesions in the base of tongue, oropharynx as are told by the robotics. Whatever developments has occurred in the neck node dissection, which I'll put. And again, in that neck node dissection in our country, again we have a problem. Again, why we are unable to follow the complete rules and regulation of European American guidelines. That I have certain personal questions. Let me start with the presentation. And before presentation, I must give my thanks to Voice of Tobacco Victim, Samban Foundation, and Dr. Pankaj Chaturvedi from Tata Memorial, who wanted me, Dilip, if this happened, go on speaking more on tobacco and how to incorporate into the society and law, try to tell and try to show the development with it. Let us go for the presentation. First slide. Okay. Good evening to all. Next. So, as we see the global scenario, there is a global data, one of the biggest data in India, 2002 to 16 years data. You can see the prevalence of 24.6 million with the almost half as the incidence and the mortality slowly going on 6.7 million. Next. Head and neck cancers are common cancers with high mortality rates in South and South Asian countries. You see, more than 90% head and neck cancers are squamous cell cancer. Rest, the other variety. But the worldwide death is 355,000 deaths per year. And incidence, you see, just double it. Next. So I have borrowed this slide from one of my intimate friend, Dr. Ghanashyam Biswas, who has rightly analyzed. And you see what he has emphasized. In India, head and neck cancers account for less than 1/3 of all cancers, and 2/3 of these patients are diagnosed in advanced stage. That means even if it is surface cancer, even if the cancer is looking in the mouth, very surface cancer, yet less than 20% cases I see early lesion of tongue, and many of oncologists you must be seeing even if it is surface cancer very advanced. So this attribute the national average of tobacco uses in India is 21.4%. Odisha. Then I'll give the GATS data. Next.
Sir, you can click on the next slide. You can use it as well. You can click on the next.
It's not coming here. Okay. That is why I don't call head and neck cancers as head and neck cancer for last 50 more than years. Rather, I would rename it as tobacco epidemic. It is all development sequels of tobacco epidemic. You see, the world's leading preventable cause of death. Why I am highlighting? Again, it is a preventable cause of death, and we are having the highest incidence, 6 million, 100 million in the 20th century. And in 21st century, it is going to kill 1 billion. Let us go for a GATS data. 13.5 lakh people die every year. 27 crore tobacco users in India. 28.7%. Last year it was 26. Every organ of the body is affected, including from head to toe. And you see, 40% of all cancers is tobacco, and itself 90% of oral cancers and 90% lung cancers. So here I will emphasize, if we target the tobacco, rather than investing money in top 5 star hospitals, top referral hospitals, if we target, our incidence will come down, and really our incidence has come down. It will prevent the death in oral cancers as well as lung cancers. Then you can see the data. If you compare the data of India and Odisha is much higher, and 45.6% adults. And what is the age? You can see the amazing 15 plus. In our state, in my state, Odisha, 198 children initiate consumption daily. Means daily 200 children are being subjected for lung and oral cancer with a gap of period of 10 years. Because if we give a lead time period of 10 years, after 10 years, 15 plus means 25 to 30, we will see many cancers in Odisha. Then how do you differ in India and South Asia? Comparison to Europe, we'll see more and more younger generations are affected, and you can see it. Then what is the concern? It is a trismus, which is again precancerous condition, younger age group, field cancerization. Again, in our part of state, in our part of country, multiple primaries, and contrary to the European scenario, we have a aggressive disease variant. You see, most of them are less than 25, and some of the pictures you will see are 12, 13. This picture you can see, this picture you can see, this is a 22 years male, and this is a 29 years, and this is a female of 25 years. So what are the policy changes? Then about the policy changes, Voice of Tobacco Victim is a autonomous body. I'll come at the end of my presentation. I request my colleagues, friends, and cured citizens who are participating to help me and to be part of the policy changes. Let us start with the topic. So we have told 90% is commercial. HPV associated cancers are oropharynx cancer, that is very less in our country, but very slowly it is increasing, mostly in the urban sectors. It is approaching, and you see there is a decline in the tobacco related cancers, whereas there is an increase slightly marginal in the HPV related cancers. But the good point is, if you see the two distinct cancers, commercial, HPV positive, HPV negative, you can see the survival has improved, whereas in the tobacco, the survival is worse. And you can see more and more younger generations now being affected. And this is becoming quite common in urban areas, and this sexual behavior also is becoming more common. Incidence of certain malignancies. So what are the anatomical distributions for a common man head and neck cancers? Oral cavity is nearly 50%, half of the, and pharynx and larynx are less. In our part, laryngeal cancers are again more and more in females. Then stage, I will go for a stage and survival. Many people ask, sir, what is the stage? First they will ask what is the stage. Then they ask, is it curable or not? Then they ask, how many years I'll go for survive, my patient survive. So if the patient is coming 15% in stage 1, the survival is highest. And in our part, we used to see stage 3, 4, and 15% cases unresectable, where the survival is very dismal. Let me straight go to the management. In oral cancer, the management is a management of primary lesion, management of neck nodes. Management of primary lesion, I am not going much into technicality because I don't want to show many more operative data. The management is very simple. In a soft tissue cancer, if the bone is not involved, you can preserve the bone. If the bone is involved, then you can sacrifice the bone, or you can sacrifice the superficial part of the bone. So that management, soft tissue management, has not changed over last 10 to 20 years. But what is the change? The change of neck management, because of the awareness, more educated persons are coming in this N0 variety, means no neck nodes or neck nodes. So why the neck node is very important? In a patient, in a cervical node, most important prognostic factor is node involvement. A single node involvement drops down the cure rate to 50%. Suppose a patient coming with tongue cancer without node, another patient 2 centimeter tongue cancer without node, another patient is coming in a 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter cancer with node. Definitely, when the node is affected, any patients, the prognosis drops down. And there is a predictable pattern of lymphatic drainage. There is a paradigm shift in the management in last 20 years. Treatment is influenced by choice of treatment for primary, not by the choice of treatment, laser or modern tools. So what are the predictors of occult metastatic neck nodes? It depends on the T size of the primary. Grade 3 lesions are more prone for neck node metastasis, and especially in the tongue and floor of mouth, and buccal mucosa. In a tongue, if the thickness is more than 4 millimeter, higher the risk of occult metastasis, even if on imaging you don't find. In the floor of mouth, buccal mucosa, the tumor thickness is more than 1.5 millimeter, 30% hard occult metastasis. So this shows that whenever we are trying to preserve the nodes, not to address the necks. In our cases, suppose a patient comes and once we operate, the patient refuses to come for follow-up. So whenever the patient, even if coming in an early stage, in a patient is coming from a remote part of the village, you must address the necks or the primary. If the patient is educated, then you must counsel. Then what are the investigations? Lot many investigations I have shown. You can see the specificity and sensitivity of all investigations, but ultrasound guided fine needle aspiration cytology is the most accurate diagnostic modality for neck nodes. Sometimes it can replace the costly MRI or PET CT or CT scan for neck nodes. So what are the radiological criteria for metastatic neck node? Any node size, maximum diameter in radiology more than 1 centimeter, you must be suspicious and you must address the node. And there are other factors for the nodal involvement like elliptical size, central necrosis, irregular border. So a patient come in the early stage without neck node, N0 neck that we call. But again, you have to remember that 20 to 40% have an occult metastasis in the neck. So that the remarkable paper by A.K. DeCruz, N0 neck versus N plus neck. The bottom line is, even if it is an early stage, preferably we used to address the neck nodes, because in a safe expert hand, neck node dissection is not of much morbidity. Many of the cancer specialists, they are very well trained in neck dissection. So again, for a very broad knowledge, we have 3 types: supraomohyoid neck dissection, extended supraomohyoid, and level 2B special approach. But this level 2B is not approached in all cases of early lesions, as it is produced more morbidity and less than 5 to 4% only chances of level 2B nodes. Then comes radical neck dissection as described by Kyle, which is almost obsolete nowadays, but for the theory of sake, in certain cases, post-chemotherapy patients, post-radiation, and Isolated nodal metastasis, recurrence metastasis, where there is no option left, means patient has operated, patient has been radiated, again recurrence. In those selective cases, we go for radical neck dissection, accepting these side effects of radical neck dissection. So what are the prognostic factors associated with neck nodes? The nodal size, number of nodes, clinical end stage, and the most important is extracapsular spread. It is the very, very independent prognostic factor in a neck node metastasis. Again, when you are talking of angioneck metastasis of skip nodes, from the literature, incidence of skip metastasis is 2.5 to 12%. But if one excludes the skip metastasis in level 3, frequency reduces again to 7.5%. So this skip metastasis is very difficult to know. So how to predict the nodal metastasis? Here you can see 2 to 8 millimeter more than 3 millimeter, and the 25%. If it is more than 2 millimeter, more than 8 millimeter, 41.2%. So only very early cases like T1 lesion, we are only getting 7.5%. But again, out of the 7.5%, 4% are skipped. Now let me come to the locally advanced head and neck cancers. So these are stage 1 and 2 early, and stage 3, 4, 4A, 4B, 4C are locally advanced. Let me elaborate. So if you see the locally advanced neck cancer broad philosophy, the 4B and 4C is not addressed, only palliative and symptomatic. 4B very advanced, where you can go for a palliative, symptomatic, sometimes in very limited cases, you can go for a biological for chemotherapy, and moderately advanced stage 3 and stage 4, you can go for a curative resection of organ preservation, surgical. So these are the two T4A and T4B. If you find these pterygoid plates, skull base, encasculated, and this masticator space, if these are involved, you must avoid the surgery. Rather, we have to explain the patient. But moderately advanced local disease, you can go for excision. Earlier, the deep extensing muscles of the tongue was contraindicated, but right now it has been indicated. So T4A you can address. So let me go for a resectable and survival. Resectable versus unresectable cancer. If the cancer is resectable, the 5-year survival is 35 to 65%. But if it is unresectable, then it is 15 to 35%. And from this resectable to unresectable, again, if the presentation is longer duration, if they go for a alternative treatment like Ayurvedic, homeopathic, any alternative form of treatment which is not sometimes scientifically based, they easily come from the resectable to unresectable stage, which is hardly sometimes 1 to 2 months. It has been 1 to 3 months, and in 1 to 3 months, see the survival drops down. So what my patients want to know, many of the patients, doctor, what treatment options available to me? Doctor, am I be all tolerable? I am quite weak. I may not be. Doctor, is there a treatment, means chemotherapy, radiation, my patient will go for sick? Or if the treatment is too toxic? And the last question is always, doctor, is there any alternative method of treatment without surgery? So what are the treatment options? Locally advanced squamous cell cancer is a resectable. I told you non-resectable. Non-resectable, you can go for a sequential or concurrent. Then you can go for a neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Then you have to see whether it has been resectable or not. If the non-resectable, then these are the options. Again, in both these options, whether it is neoadjuvant or the survival is of no difference. Only a disease-free survival you can achieve. So decision making in squamous cell cancer is very complex. The disease factor means bone is involved or not, floor of mouth is involved or not, the disease is creeping into the pharyngeal spaces, masticator spaces. Patient factor. Is the patient having comorbidities, diabetes, hypertension? Treatment factors. If the patient, after getting how many ICU stay, what is the post-operative, what is the role of tracheostomy? Here I want to emphasize one thing. Sometimes if the patient is not fit for surgery, you cannot drag even if early cases, then you have to go for any alternative methods. But this is very dubious. And in older patients, diabetic patients, there are atherosclerotic vessels, and in those atherosclerotic vessels, whenever after surgery you are going for a free flap microvascular reconstruction, the chances of failure is very high. For my surgical colleagues, before taking any patients above 55 to 60 for microvascular reconstructions, we must emphasize that is diabetic and atherosclerosis and Doppler study. Let me again come to the preventive aspects. Effect of screening on oral cancer mortality in Kerala. This is a pilot study. It reduces mortality in high-risk individuals. This is the proven data. Then let me go for a policy changes. Voice of tobacco victims are independent body, is managed by doctors, patients, patient survivors, tobacco victim survivors, and surgeons and paramedical staffs, including try to influence the bureaucrats. So voice of tobacco victim increase in 20 states, gutka and twin pack ban. Now there is you won't find gutka, but in a twin pack you find both of you can mix. And Juvenile Justice Act management is very necessary in our country. Pictorial pack ownings 85%, film rules, and e-cigarette has to be strictly banned. So what is the global adult survey? If you see in 2009 to 10, 34.6% prevalence, it has come down to 28.6% just. So it is just giving a strict tobacco ban, which requires help by society, media people's help, and convinced by the bureaucrats and bureaucratic levels. You can see in these 10 years, prevalence is down by 6%, which has saved 2.2 crores life. And in these 2.2 crore lives, if they would have been operated, radiated, received chemotherapy, there's an enormous amount of finance loss. So there must be a political will, and the political will, you can see the very much political will, and in which states there is a political will they have achieved, and you can see the achieved in Assam and Maharashtra is remarkable, and the involvement of NSS students, because these are the target persons whom the tobacco industry targets. Because once a child at the age of 15 to 16 started taking smokeless tobacco, not smoked tobacco, then he is addicted. Then what the tobacco industry they target? They target very tactfully to these students. How to target these students? Film advertisement. They are heroes taking smokings. They are heroes advertising from the Manik Chand, not gutka, the Manik Chand masala, then something soda. And these children, the nearby school, you will find the tobacco shop. So it is the strategy, it's the place for life. We have to address the education department. In education, tobacco-free education institutes, activities and curriculum, we must include tobacco as a curriculum, and we are banging on it. Tobacco as a curriculum, if that is significant political will, that will be resulted, and that will produce severe financial gain to the state and community mobilization, NSS and youth organization. This NSS, my colleagues, is a very vast organization, and they can mobilize the people like anything. So this is our future. So in India, 5,500 children initiate tobacco every day, and in Odisha, 200 children. And if you see these data after, then once they become occult, once they become very clear-cut case of head and neck cancers in our part, in our northeast part, in eastern part of India, then after 10 years, there will be victims. And we are going to see in India in 2023, less than 30 years of age, 50%, it has been calculated, 50% of tobacco victims will be stage 3 to 4 in less than 30 age. See, India, that is why it is called India. India is the capital of the world. So what is how to prevent the cancer? As Dr. Das told me not to go much technicality, it is still the world's leading single cause of death. 6 million, 100 million people in 20th century killed. And in 21st century, it has been predicted that it will kill 1 billion, even if it is killing much more patients than corona. So you see, in India, 13.5 lakh deaths per annum and 28.7 tobacco users. And the very minimal, we are targeting only cigarette and bidi, and the smokeless tobacco is 21.4%. Out of them, 40 to 50% of all cancers and 90% are tobacco use. And now, my dear friends, you can see 104,500 crores per annum we are spending. How many steel plants, how many educations, how many jobs will be created if we ban the tobacco, if we decrease the incidence of tobacco, smokeless tobacco in our country, especially in my state, Odisha, West Bengal, Northeast, Bangladesh, these kind of areas. So what is the solution? Protect the age group of 10 to 20 years. Here the catch point is, after 20, the person is mature. In the 15 to 20, he is immature. So it has been seen that any person using tobacco before the age of 20 and after the age of 20, after the age of 20, 22, they have a strong willpower to prevent or stop tobacco. But once they are addicted before 20, they cannot stop it. Then awareness is public campaigns. The most important is curriculum vitae in the textbook of class 5 to 12. We are banging our heads on the state government. They have agreed, but in between this pandemic has come. There must be a clean campuses. Court Park means within 400 meters, there should not be any tobacco shop. No sale of tobacco to minors. No sale within 100 yards of schools. Community mobilization. High taxes on tobacco products. High taxes on tobacco products is a very significant, is a very good way of decreasing tobacco incidence, which is reflected now. Once the alcohol, they increase the amount to 50%, suddenly there is a drop in the use of alcohol. So in this pledge of life for tobacco free, in the community there will be NSS, Scouts and NCC, our strong force in India. And without Department of Police, we cannot implement it. And activities should be by students and curriculum. So in India, we have made more like 350,000 schools tobacco free data by the NSS and Voice of Tobacco Victim. And you can see that. So enforcement of laws is very, very important, and the enforcement of laws is the hand of the police DG, police ADG. Unless until we sensitize those police personnel, we are not going to improve anything in head and neck cancer. The same thing will be coming, same thing will be operating, same patient, 30% patients will be recurrence, same patients will sell their land for chemotherapy, and we are at the same level, just satisfying ourselves as a significant hero of a larger surgery. but that is not the aim. So our model accounts for more than 70% enforcement activity in the country. With NSS, you see 5 lakh participants by 2 lakh NSS voluntary, and to prevent COVID-19, chewing tobacco usage. So we have a spit-free movement. Spitting is very bad unless until you don't allow. If the person who is taking tobacco, he sees that spitting in the public place is punishable, he will avoid taking tobacco. That is why the drive is right now the spit-free India, and next is cancer-free India. With this, I am concluding my talk. I have not gone detail into the technical aspects, more and more preventable aspects, and let you all doctors should join Voice of Tobacco, and all listeners, please join Voice of Tobacco. And you are the sole hero in your community, in your family, in your local, who can prevent 10 deaths per day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So now I would like to request Dr. Prafulla Kumar Das sir to ask a few questions and moderate the talk. Over to you, sir.
So where is the chat box? It's vanished.
Sir, it's on the right side. Chat.
It's vanished. I don't know. So the chat box. Where is the chat box?
Sir, it's on the right side, sir. So, on the right side, chat, it is written chat. You can click
No,
on it.
it was there, but it is showing, yeah. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Dilip, for your excellent presentation. I was just, while going through your the presentation, I was also going through the chat box. There were a lot of commendations for you, and people really enjoyed. And there are few questions. I will just go to you for one by one. So it's very difficult to chase everything, but I will again try to see the most important questions. Yeah, what are the molecular markers for the detection of oral cancer, non-invasive techniques?
Hello?
What are the molecular markers for the detection of oral cancer and the non-invasive techniques? There is a question. Okay.
This part, I'm not medical oncologist, I'm not very sure, but is it necessary for in our state, in our part of we have addressed in the whenever you are getting stage 3, stage 4, stage 2 lesions in advance, is it necessary? And will it going to help us in future? And if it is going to help us, very minuscule percentage of help us. But exactly, I'm not, I don't know detail because I'm not gone through that.
Yeah. So we were just discussing about the awareness and the how to prevent cancer in early stage, so that we can prevent the death rate in head and neck cancer in India, especially in Orissa. Dr. Dilip has already said with all pictorial presentation how deadly and devastated condition the patient comes to us in late stage when the cure chance is very, very remote. So next question is, there are only commendations are great. Next question is, oral submucous fibrosis leads to squamous cell carcinoma. If yes, up to what percentage?
This is a very valid question and a very important question in your part. Submucosal fibrosis is a precancerous, not a precancerous lesion, it's a precancerous condition. There are a lot of mutations. And what happens in exactly submucosal fibrosis, the oral cavity are denervated and the sensation is lost. And if there is a small ulcer and long-standing ulcer and mutated by again tobacco, that produces to an advanced stage. So in a submucosal fibrosis patients, you mostly see in advanced cases, because they cannot see this and it is not been visualized. Everybody doesn't have an endoscope. So oral submucosal fibrosis in our country is very high, and incidence is almost 20 to 30% more in case of submucosal fibrosis with cancers. Means cancers are more 20-30% in submucosal fibrosis. Again, I am analyzing. If I analyze my own data, I was looking that my failures are more in a case of submucosal fibrosis patients. Nodal failures are more. I don't know exactly the detail into it, but I have seen in my patients, I have a more failure in a tongue cancer subset analysis who's having associated submucosal fibrosis, but I don't know the reason why. Probably it may point out to the field cancerization effect, submucosal fibrosis leading to a field cancerization. That may be the cause.
Yeah. So submucosal fibrosis, there are two situations: bad situation and good situation. What is a good part of it? It takes longer time to develop cancer in it, and there is the more problem is gradually the mucosa becomes very tough because of the submucosal fibrotic tissue, and the mouth opening becomes lesser and lesser. But the incidence of cancer, cancer does not occur in the overnight. It takes longer time. So if one is really aware, and every month or so, you can see and visualize the oral cavity to see any lesion there and come to a doctor, then it can very well preventable. But unfortunately, this is not possible because the oral mouth opening becomes lesser and lesser. So thereby, the patient himself or herself doesn't know what is happening inside. So that's why this is number one. And to the surgeon, it becomes a menace because the margin are not well defined. You do not know how much margin you will take. So, and third thing is in apprehension, we take little more margin in fibrosis, and the defect also becomes more after the resection because of the fibrosis. So thereby requiring reconstructions. Great.
Here I want to make a point, sir.
Yeah.
There is a Moheen, there is a breast self-examination. So that is a organized study, organized advice. So this is a suggestion by Dr. De Cruz and his team that oral self-examination, like breast self-examination, oral self-examination once in 15 days or once a month in a daylight, outside, in a mirror. Any person using tobacco gutka, they can, and especially it will be helpful to a person who is having submucosal fibrosis. Again, another point is in submucosal fibrosis, you try to see more of skip lesions than the singular lesions.
Yeah, exactly. This is also what I wanted to impress. Oral self-examination in front of the mirror will definitely help to detect the lesion in early stages by the patient himself or herself. So there is another question, head and neck cancer, any targeted therapy?
Lot many. They are now the lot many, the Jeftinib, Elotinib, lot many biological, cetuximab, lot many targeted therapies have come.
Yeah, so this is a little advanced and professional question. So there are. So what are the... Yes, Dilip.
But again, it is a difficult, any medical oncologist, it's a difficult thing, whether these targeted therapies, how far they are percolating, translating into overall survival has to be seen. There must be disease-free survival, but how long it is going for overall survival, the study is going.
Yeah. So targeted therapy are usually recommended in recurrent head and neck cancer, failure, metastatic, during the follow-up. If everything is finished, surgery is finished, radiation is gone, and chemotherapy also given. So next comes the targeted therapy. Of course, there are some certain markers like PDL1 tests are there. So based on that, if those are mutated, then only it becomes valuable. So thank you, Dilip. There is another question. What are the This is again another pathological question.
Does it disconnect? Again, the question, please.
What are the biological carcinogens affecting oral cancer, affecting on oral cancer?
Biological carcinogens.
Yeah.
I'm not clear.
Okay, so he I think he has meant what are the carcinogens causing cancer, especially
Around
in
40 carcinogens in the all products, but each are having their specific roles. But biological carcinogens, I don't know.
Yeah, they are
What
usually.
you ask, the carcinogen materials in the tobacco, or what he wants to ask exactly?
So I think he has asked carcinogens means what are the maybe tobacco related carcinogens.
40 odds carcinogen materials.
Okay, there is another question. Is there any way we can prevent recurrence of carcinoma tongue? Prevention of recurrence.
Recurrence of carcinoma where? In oral cavity or in pharynx or larynx?
Tongue.
The tongue cancer and oral cancer fall in the same group. Only thing the tongue cancer is a bit aggressive in nodal metastasis, requires aggressive treatment. But the preventable steps are same for all. Initial after the surgery radiation, monthly follow-up for 3 months, and only clinical follow-up. There is no test which can give us exactly when the cancer is going to return. Why we do monthly follow-up? If we don't do monthly follow-up for initial 6 months, then if the recurrence, if we do 3 months follow-up, then if the recurrence is there, patient will come in a non-resectable stage. If we go on a monthly follow-up, we will able to detect recurrence in an early stage. It is only mostly clinical, but no imaging study is attributed or no imaging study is recommended to advise for a recurrence unless until clinical diagnosis.
There is another question. How safe is the re-irradiation of the face and neck? Re-irradiation.
Usually, as far as knowledge, within 2 years, they cannot be re-irradiated. And after 2 years, depending on the tooth condition, biology, neck node metastasis to opposite neck, then the radiation oncologist decides whether they can go for a re-radiation or not. And in a re-radiation is not a very enjoyable situation, but within 2 years, there is no re-radiation. After 2 years, the radiation oncologist consider.
There is a question, is there any genetic correlation with these cancers?
The data has not come out fully. It is going on. Mostly sometimes they attribute to P53.
Yeah. So is there any chance of having these cancers in non-tobacco users?
The question will be like this. If you are traveling with a helmet, you are not 100% protected. But if you are traveling without a helmet, there is 99% chances that you will lose your life or head injury. So even if in non-tobacco user, the cancers come, those are attributed to the mutation and accident theory. The only difference between the cancers in a tobacco user and non-tobacco user, the prognosis, the nodal metastasis, the operability result, and the overall survival is higher in a non-tobacco user than a tobacco user. But again, in a non-tobacco user, the cancers is only 10% or less.
So can submucous fibrosis with non-healing ulcers be seen in patients with no history of tobacco chewing or smoking in his lifetime?
One second question.
Can submucous fibrosis with non-healing ulcers can be seen in patients with no history of tobacco chewing or smoking in his lifetime?
Yes, it can be seen. There is nothing new in it.
Yeah, that is seen. Dear Dr. Bhuvneshwari, so I can answer in this way. There are the submucous fibrosis is a idiosyncrasy reaction to any form of tobacco. Mostly they are for the any form of tobacco, but sometimes it's a spicy food, and they also cause this idiosyncrasy reaction and cause this.
Very less
Some,
conditions.
very less, very unlikely. But most commonly, it is the tobacco which causes submucous fibrosis.
The question should be framed like this.
Yeah.
The incidence of cancers in a submucosal fibrosis by tobacco, in a submucosal fibrosis idiopathic, where the incidence cancer is high, and how much? The incidence of cancer in submucosal fibrosis with a prior exposure to tobacco, the incidence is much higher, and the incidence is very broad, somewhere around 25 to 60%. The incidence of cancers in a submucosal fibrosis, on a non-healing ulcer, in a non-tobacco user is very, very less, and that, as you told, it may be a mutational.
So there is one more question on submucous fibrosis. How to manage before any cancer occurs? Submucous fibrosis.
Yeah. You see, the submucous fibrosis is not a local disease. It is a systemic disease. The submucous fibrosis doesn't occur only in oral cavity. It occurs in esophagus up to GE junction. So in oral cavity, the submucous fibrosis, there are long number of treatments. None of the treatment is satisfactory and foolproof. Starting from Kenacort injection, steroid, B-complex, celecoxib, then coronarectomy, surgical free flaps, nothing. The only most definitive successful treatment for submucosal fibrosis is jaw stretcher. Jaw stretcher vigorously applied for 3 to 6 months is only preventable for submucosal fibrosis. When the mouth opening is good, then you can detect the cancer early.
Yeah.
Otherwise, any form of treatment is not going to help.
Yes. So as you know, the submucous fibrosis is because of the fibrosis of the submucosal layer of the oral cavity. Once the damage occurs, it never goes back. So only thing we have to prevent further submucous fibrosis and further contraction. So as Dr. Dilip said,
Sir, if you see the submucosal fibrosis, you can see, you write submucosal layer, and at the submucosal fibrosis affects the temporomandibular joint, the masticator space, even if the masticator muscles also. That is why just approaching mucosa, either by a free flap or by a bilateral coronarectomy, you are not going to relieve. You are going to only a temporary relief, only permanent by jaw stretcher.
So most important is prevention of the further trismus, further mouth opening problem. So by this exercise, mouth opening exercise, sometimes some surgeons they advise, you remove all the last 4 molars so that the mouth opening exercise is better. So, and some people they give Kenacort injection also, but that is also not in the guideline. So let me see if any other question is there. Yeah, any role of immunotherapy? I think we have already discussed partly, and yeah, so it is in recurrent and metastatic lesion, and yes, cetuximab and nivolumab are approved targeted therapy. Yes, somebody has answered, Doctor. It's none other than our medical oncologist, Dr. Ghanshyam.
That is their brand, that is a kick.
Yeah, so that is for the recurrent and metastatic. So incidence of cancer in non-smoker, this we have also discussed. So it's more than 40 to 60% is in smokers and less than 40% non-smoker, and out of those HPV infection is also there, 10 to 15%, mostly for the oropharyngeal cancer. Sir, if any complication occurs after surgery, that is loss of speech, what would be the treatment of it?
1 second, sir. Question: if there is any.
Somebody has asked, sir, if there is any complication like loss of speech after the surgery, what will be the treatment?
Loss of speech after the surgery in oral cavity. Most time the complication is due to recurrent angular palsy. That may indicate a nodal mediastinal node METs. But for oral lesions, loss of speech, I have never seen, and I don't know how the speech will be lost in oral cancer unless until by resectable node, bulky resectable node, while you are resecting and injuring the recurrent angular nerve by the juxtathyroid or more anterior crest next, then there is a loss of speech.
Now, probably he has asked the intangibility of the speech. So probably, so that
does he meaning the pitch of the voice, the pitch and tune of the voice?
No, he has told the loss of speech. So there are two issues. One is the timbre of the speech is lost, that is in thyroid cancer, that is external laryngeal nerve injury. And number two, the tangibility of the speech is lost in surgery of the oral tongue. Oral tongue, the tip is required. The tip of the tongue is required for the tangibility. Ta. So this tangibility is mainly because of the tip of the tongues. Only in the surgery of the tongue, there is some compromise of the function, but that eventually comes up after the radiation therapy is over. So that is not a great issue for the patients, and most of our patients are happy at the end of the completion of the treatment.
Another thing I want to highlight here.
Yeah.
As you told the tongue, there are more and more microvascular surgeons are nowadays repairing the nerve also. So that the tongue, the repaired means the radial free artery flap or any anterior thigh ply microvascular flap, the muscle volume is not lost because of the anastomosis of nerve to nerve. In those cases, you get a very good, not only cosmetic, but functional result also, which includes speech.
Yeah, that is called Sensate flap. Sensate flap. So that is a very great thing by the reconstructive surgeon. So there is another question. All compliments only, full of compliments. How swift this cancer would be in a HIV positive child? How swift this cancer would be in a HIV positive child? That means he wants to ask, is it a HIV positivity is a precursor of cancer of oral cavity?
No, there is no data like that. Only HIV that are immunocompromised, that may be attributing, but there is no absolute data in HIV positive. They are more prone for cancers. They are more prone other cancers, including head and neck, because of low immunity, immunodeficiency.
Somebody has commented squamous cell carcinoma mostly treated with cisplatin with radiation therapy. Is there any treatment choice?
Yeah, that is, they call it as a sequential concurrent chemoradiation. During that, to potentiate the effects of radiation, they use for cisplatin. Sometimes nowadays they are using nivolumab, the MAP therapy also. That is potentiating the radiation effect. Yes, it is accepted. Very well-known treatment for radiation. That is called concurrent CTRT. Cisplatin, yes. drug of choice.
So I think
Yes.
you can take one more question. Like one more question.
Yeah, after the organizer has given us a warning bell, so we'll just finish after one or two questions. I'm just going for any best treatment of oral prevention. Sir, can fourth stage of cancer be treatable?
T4, not T4B. T4 is not, but if in a stage 4 cancer, very few patients after the neoadjuvant chemo plus biological, if the distant metastasis has resulted and the primary has reduced, then you can go for surgery. Otherwise, no other indication for surgery.
Bone cancer stages and symptoms. I think it's not relevant to our topic. So
He must
I
be
think
asking mandible. He must be asking mandible involvement.
mandible involvement. Yes.
That's a tricky line if the mandible involved or not involved. If the mandible is involved, then you depends on marginal mandibulectomy or segmental mandibulectomy. Depends on how much is the involvement, cortical bone or non-cortical bone. If the mandible is not involved, but there are paramandibular disease, mandible involved, but there is a big paramandibular disease, then in those cases, it is better to sacrifice the mandible because it has been seen that in a paramandibular disease, there is a micrometastasis to mandible and the recurrence is high if we preserve the mandible.
Yeah. So I was just going through. Dr. Ghanshyam Biswas also has answered most of the questions, tricky questions, and mostly they are related to the immunotherapy, biological therapy, and some advanced questions and answers. So I think this is the end of our session. I must thank Dr. Dilip, Dr. Ghanshyam Biswas, and the organizer for conducting such a nice webinar on awareness of the head and neck cancer, squamous cell carcinoma, and especially in our country, in our state, what are the issues and what are the queries among the population. And there was a great response from the population. There was a great enthusiasm among the populations. So thank you very much. I think this is the end of the session. I will hand over to the organizer.
Thank you so much, sir. So it was such a beautiful webinar, such an informative webinar by Dilip sir, and it was equally beautifully moderated by Prafulya Kumar Das sir as well. So before we end it, I would like to tell everyone who is watching us live, all the attendees, on the right hand side on the top of chat box, we have mentioned the steps to access the webinar certificates. You can follow the procedure and you can get the certificates for the webinar. Apart from that, all the registrants who have registered for this webinar will receive an email in which you will be getting links of the feedback as well as the links for downloading the certificates of the webinar as well. Nobody needs to panic. In a short duration of time after the webinar ends, you will be receiving the email. So before we end this, I'd like to thank our speaker for the afternoon, Dilip sir, for the beautiful
Ashish,
talk,
Ashish,
for this informative session.
Ashish, would you like to invite Dr. Ghanshyam to just say one or two sentences?
Yes, sir. If sir wants, he can come, sir. Sir can request to speak and I can bring him to the dais.
Yeah,
Is Ghanshyam around?
yeah. If Ghanshyam is around and he can speak a few words.
Yes, sir. I'll just accept it.
Yeah.
Sir, I've just accepted his to talk.
Okay.
Yes, sir. He's joined.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So, for such a interactive webinar, thank you, Ashwin, for organizing. And the audience, so we are really actually so interest in the webinar. So this interest only can help us arranging such webinars. And today, being the Independence Day, so India is celebrating Independence Day. So I hope that all fellow countrymen should be independent of tobacco, independent of COVID-19. So stay safe and safe.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind message. So before we end it, we'd again like to thank our speaker for the afternoon, Dr. Dilip Kar, sir, our moderator for the afternoon, Dr. Prafulla Kumar Das, sir, and our program director, Dr. Ghanshyam Biswas, sir. Without you people, this webinar wouldn't have been possible. And we assure that we'll be coming as we are doing webinars every week. We assure everyone, all the attendees watching us live, we assure everyone that we'll be coming up with more interesting topics in near future. Till then, very happy Independence Day to everyone. And we would urge everyone to stay home and stay safe during this pandemic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.